Hello and welcome to this Global Custodian Roundtable exploring the state of play and the future of technology in the securities services industry. I'd like to say a big thank you to CIBC Mellon for hosting us here today. Today I'm joined luckily by three experts who I've managed to steal away from the Cybos floor, and maybe what we could do to start is we can go along the table and you can introduce yourselves.
Sure, so I can start. So my name is Yannick Guano. I'm from Clearstream Banking, based in Luxembourg. I'm responsible for the IT department covering asset servicing, data and connectivity. Over the last 2 years, I've been also responsible for our IT transformation program that we have kicked off with the view to modernize our overall IT landscape. And I also recently took over the responsibility of the D7 program management within Clearstream.
Nice. Ying.
Hi, I'm Ying Tan. I'm the Global Head of Products and Funds for Standard Chartered Bank. I'm based in Singapore. Till a month ago, I was the COO for the same business line itself, whereby I'm also responsible for the transformation program for operations itself, which is really look at to streamline and optimize the platform itself to create further scalability.
And as Chris well knows, I'm Richard Schwartz, Head of Research at Global Custodian, and responsible for the annual surveys that we do of both custodian banks and fund services providers, of which technology is an integral part.
Perfect. So we have three different perspectives here, so it should make for a great conversation. I thought a good place to begin would be to look where technology has really made an impact over the last 5 years or so. So maybe Yannick, we can start with you with Clearstream. Where has technology really made a difference for you?
I think I would say we have definitive 3 areas where we have focused our transformation initiatives. The first one is about cloud computing, cloud migration. Not only for, I would say, the infrastructure dimension and the benefit it brings just to move production workload to cloud, but also we realized that it was a mandatory enabler for us to develop further our data analytics capability. Right? We also realized very quickly that we were sitting a very important amount of data and requesting cloud computing capability to make the best use of that one. So obviously data is the second element, as I said. So in a logic sequence after cloud migration, data products and data engineering is the area where we have recently focused our efforts. And last but not least, the overall digitization journey around multiple dimensions. We started as many institutions by digitization of our process, like with a large automation program at scale. But then we also now moving to the digitization of the asset itself, right? So after the automation, we are now moving from digital securities, and with digital securities comes the topic of tokenization and also new DLT type of infrastructure. But I'm sure that we will have opportunities to come back on that topic.
Yeah, definitely. Ying, does that sound familiar to you too?
Yes, it's largely along the same vein. In the asset servicing business itself, we are really a people and technology business, right? Accompanied by the strong products that we actually give to our client. So technology has definitely played a significant role in the last 5 years especially, right? So when you kind of look into the last 5 years, what have we been focusing on and where are we really today, right? So we have spent quite a lot of time in the initial stages streamlining our processes itself, right? So we have a core platform. Before the world of the AI, before the world of the DLT, we try to streamline as much of the processes as possible to the extent that we can. And then, however, when you look at our footprint, it's not such an easy task because we have 40 different markets. No 40 markets is one and the same. So to the extent that you can streamline processes, it may not be as pervasive as you would like it to be. So what do? You can only do to a certain extent, and then you try to remediate the remaining with AI, with digital processes to basically shorten the gap for the overall streamlining. So that's one part we've already done in the initial phase. In the last 3 years itself, we really focused a lot, as what he's mentioned, also on the data piece and also on the AI piece. 40 different markets, no 2 clients are the same, no 2 markets are the same. So we do, in honesty, receive quite some manual reporting or manual instructions. And keep adding people is not a long-term solution. So over the last 3 years itself, we've added a lot of AI capabilities in that space. We have taken MT599, for example, which is unstructured format. We have taken PDF instruction, which is again unstructured format. We have used AI to successfully convert them into proper instruction to automate through the entire end-to-end. And that actually improved our scalability by about 90% processing time-wise. And the last piece is really on the data. The ability to offer clients a singular source of truth that combines cash, combines securities, and combines FX is definitely key going forward. So data is actually our focus right now, and it's an evolution journey with us and our clients. So that is a piece of work that is actually still evoluting. And the last piece of cloud computing, which is mentioned, right? We do have challenges in the markets that we operate. Not all countries allow cloud computing, which means that you have to start a long cycle of approval process with the regulators. So which also means that till cloud computing is there, you can't really harmonize or standardize to the extent that you wish to. And hopefully one day we'll get to the nirvana stage.
Yeah, perfect. And Richard, being in charge of the surveys, you kind of get a barometer feeling of how clients are feeling about their providers. What trends have you seen, I don't know, like evolve around technology and what clients want from their providers?
There are a few. Overall, if technology, we cover about 12 or so service categories in the survey. In the latest Agent Bank survey, which hasn't, there's a sneak preview available at Cybos, but we haven't done a full analysis yet. All the categories are rated in the range that we classify as good, which is 5 to 5.99 for major markets. That's lower than, for example, the fund services providers, fund admins, but it's still acceptable. There's no real problems. Within that group, technology is probably in the lower third. So I think the latest score for technology overall amongst all providers was something like 5.4. I can check it if anyone wants the exact details, which was an improvement on last year, but still at the lower end. It's not easy to tell from the comments. We allow people to add qualitative comments just for color. It's not easy to tell what it is that keeps the score down. I think increasingly clients know, because of fintechs and the greater exposure to technology, they know what's out there. They don't know all the details, but they know that what they're getting, they can compare to something else, even if they don't have the full information. So I suspect the current climate makes it more difficult to satisfy clients than in the old days, where they were just relying on you to provide everything.
Yeah, is that something you guys are seeing as like client expectation for technology sometimes outstripping capabilities, I suppose?
Maybe to answer that question, we have to start using the client's lens to look at technology, not the provider's lens, because what we see and what clients see will be very different. So what would clients basically expect from us, right? I mean, it's a few things, like accuracy of data, speed of data, okay, and then data on demand, as and when they want it. So when you kind of look into all these three elements and aggregate it up, let's just say that when clients see this data, they only have so few communication medium, right? Either you have a portal whereby you have a lens into the data itself, or they could be going by the more standard communication mediums like Swift, which while informations are there, and they may not necessarily be on a fully on-demand basis itself. And then the third is all the ad hoc reporting that they require, right? So at the end of it, the ability to provide instantaneous trade statuses, the ability to provide accurate information around that would be key. If I'm the one sitting there grading the providers itself, and it's usually and typically the operations management over there that actually does that survey itself. So if you don't give accurate information, and let's just face it, you don't always have a perfect score. You could be 99.9. Just that one instant will just cause you to basically have a reductions in terms of the results itself. But I do think that the reasons why the score can be that low is because of those three elements, right? But hopefully, as we actually started to use AI, as more and more solutions are available out there to allow us to basically create instantaneous trade statuses, cash reporting, then I do believe that the score will actually go up.
And Yannick, I know as a market infrastructure, you have different types of clients. What would be the primary challenges that you're seeing in integrating new technologies into your offering?
So as you said, as a market infrastructure, one of the key challenges that we witness in many cases a gap between client expectation and actual client readiness to onboard those new technologies. So what we can see as a small step for a market infrastructure to move into a technology is actually a big deal when it comes to wide market adoption. So this is also a topic that creates for us as a market infrastructure a huge challenge, because we cannot switch overnight from one model to the other one. We need to ensure a transition period to allow clients to move along this transformation journey together with us. So that's the problem that we have with those huge technology challenge, is that it is not just something new that we need to implement. We need also to consistently continue to operate our legacy infrastructure. So that's one of the key challenges. The second challenge, I think, is it could be seen as a paradox, but when it comes to technology onboarding, it's also a lot about people, right? You need to make sure that your people all along your product offering is deeply involved into that technology challenge, not only on the development side, but also, I would say, on the functional analyst side, where you need to make sure that you make the best use of technology in the way you design your process, and you just try to replicate like for like the way you do things since the last 25 years, just on the back of a new technology. And there is also one thing that I think is important, is the risk dimension, and I would say the risk, the probability to fail. I mean, when you onboard into a technology, and it is notably the case around all this tokenization process and DLT-based platform, there is a big unknown part. There is a strong belief that it will enable huge opportunities for the industry overall, but still the market adoption at large scale is not yet there. So you are in a situation where you need to invest to prepare for the future, significant amount of money, of people, of efforts, for a return that is not necessary in the classical model that you have in mind when it comes to traditional investment. So I would say that this is yes, so market adoption, people, and risk component is something that is very important.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on one thing you said there. It was part of a panel discussion yesterday that they spoke about the importance of talent and bringing through people to be able to understand the technology rather than the technology running off on its own. Is that something that you've seen in your organization, like developing new talent to understand these technologies?
We definitely have to, right? Because now if we're looking into the more and more usage of technology, more and more usage of AI, you really need a culture of innovations mindset in your organizations, right? You can't necessarily do the traditional way. You need people to basically look through your workflow, understand the available tools that is really out there, and then look into how possible to streamline, right? Like for example, the RPA, robotic programming automation is a one good example. We use a lot of that in our day-to-day workflow itself. Those are the small scales automation that one can do. And if you really need people to look through the flows and understand how to adopt that to streamline it, the mindset has to be different. The background has to be different. So they need to come with a bit of a change mindset and not a traditional mindset. So I do agree that as you look into your human capital, and your forward workforce, I would tend to think that we will gradually change the balance of workforce between the traditional operation stack and the versus the IT stack, and to rebalance a little bit more to basically get to the stage that we want in terms of optimization.